Hello guys, how are you doing? Welcome to online class. This is Miss Adana Ogu, your chemistry teacher, and today I'll be looking at a topic in chemistry for SS2. So far so good. We've treated topics for week 1 to week 7. So in this particular class, we'll be looking at week 2's topic. Week 8's topic, sorry. So the topic we are looking at, our topic of discussion is unsaturated hydrocarbons. And so we are going to be focusing on the alkenes especially. So let's look at our learning objective for today's class. Number 1, should be able to define unsaturation in hydrocarbon, write the general molecular formula of alkenes, name and write structures of simple alkenes, describe the laboratory and industrial preparation of a thing, state the physical and chemical properties of enzyme, understand the concept of addition reaction, and then mention the uses of enzyme. These are the basic things we are learning in this class for today. So let's go into the topic proper. Unsaturation, or when we say unsaturated hydrocarbons, it means that the hydrocarbon contains at least one multiple bond between the carbon atom. So once there is a presence of a multiple bond, either double or triple bond, that compound or that hydrocarbon is known as unsaturated hydrocarbon. So take a look at these examples that we have here. You see this compound, you have double bond, here you have triple bond, here you have a cyclic chain, that's a ring chain with double bond alternating. So this is an unsaturated hydrocarbon. You see a double bond. When there is present at least one hydrocarbon in a compound, once there is one double or triple bond in a hydrocarbon, say that compound is unsaturated. Look at this. You have triple bond and double bond in one particular compound. So this is unsaturated. Then you have two chains of benzene fused together. This is actually naphthalene, and you see that the double bonds are alternating. So these are known as unsaturated hydrocarbon. So let's go into our major focus for today, which is the alkenes, alkenes. We previously talked about alkenes, and which is alkanes, alkanes. So these we're looking at the alkenes. So the alkenes are homologous series. By now you understand what homologous series are. That is group of compounds which follow the same general molecular formula and behave alike, almost alike. They just vary from each other by their physical properties. So the alkenes, they are homologous series of unsaturated hydrocarbons with double bonds and a general molecular formula of CnH2n. When we talk about the alkanes, the general molecular formula was CnH2n plus 2. So for the alkanes, their molecular formula, their general molecular formula is CnH2n. So now N is a positive whole number greater than or equal to 2. So when we say alkenes, it has no C1 group. That means it has no methyl group like the methane. Methane is present in the alkane series, but the alkane series, methane is not present. That's C. For example, if you were to calculate it, it would be CH2. There is no such compound. So from 18, you have that's the first member of the alkane series. So they are derived from the alkenes are derived from the unsaturated alkanes derived from the saturated alkanes, by the removal of 2 hydrogen atoms and the subsequent introduction of a double bond. So that is how the alkenes are derived. So let's take a look at the first few members of the alkanes. You see the first one, 18. I told that the first member starts from 2, carbon 2. So you have C2H4. If you use the general molecular formula, C2H4, because 2 times 2 is 4. So that is the molecular formula of the first member, C2H4. The propene has 3 carbon, so the molecular formula is C3H6. 3 times 2 is 6. So you see the structure there. Butene is 4 carbon, you have C4H8, 4 times 2 is 8, all the way to get to hexane. Like I mentioned before, methane does not exist, but because there is nowhere where you can put the double bond. The characteristic property of the alkenes is that they possess the double bond, and that double bond is their functional group. That's what determines their chemical property, the way they behave. So moving on, let's look at their 18, the first remember, 18 propene, both 1 in and both 2 in are colorless gases at room temperature, while the next 13 from carbon 5 to carbon 17 are liquid, while the higher members are solid. Now, because of the presence of the double bond, they are chemically more reactive than their corresponding alkanes. Now, that double bond have electrons. There is presence of electrons in those double bonds. That's why I said that they are chemically more reactive than the corresponding alkanes because of the availability of electrons in the double bond. So, the presence of that double bond makes them more reactive than the corresponding alkanes, which are just single bonds. So, there is no electron available in the bond of the alkanes. So, they are less reactive than their corresponding alkenes. So going on, we have naming, that's nomenclature. Like I said last week, we looked at IUPAC nomenclature. There are several rules which we listed. So those rules also applies, but generally the summary of the way alkenes and alkynes can be named as follows. One, parent name is that of the longest chain that contains the C to C double bond or C to C triple bond. So the parent name carries that, the parent name will be the longest chain that contains the double or triple bond. Then number the chain from the end that give the lowest number to the carbon of the carbon to carbon double bond or carbon to carbon triple bond. Remember last time we talked about when the presence of a substitute you number the carbon so that the smallest number is given to the substitute. But in this case, the double bond is not the focus, so you give preference to the double or triple bond. So you give the smallest number to the double or triple bond. Then it said locate the double or carbon to carbon double bond or carbon to carbon triple bond by the number of its first carbon. Then use ENE to show double bond or YNE to show triple bond. But our focus today will be on the alkenes. So let's look at some example. Number one, you have this. This is 18. Why? Because it has 2 carbon atoms. So it is 18. So you remove the ANE in the 18 to be 18, make it ENE. So because of 2 carbon, then this is propene. Propene because it contains 3 carbon atoms. Prop is 3, P-R-O-O-P, 3 carbon atoms, so you make it propene. The next one, but1-ene. Now, before I go further for but1-ene, why did I look at it? Propene has no isomer. Remember when we talked about isomer? The same molecular formula, but different structural formula. So propene has no isomer. So wherever you put the double bond, if you had put the double bond on this one, it still be prop1-ene. But and now the double bond is on the right hand side. So you still call it propene because even if you put it on the left, it will still be counted as carbon 1. But look at but1-ene. This is but1-ene because you have the double bond of carbon 1. Now, why are we counting from the right to the left? Because the double bond, we give preference to the double bond. So the double bond, we have 1, so it's on carbon 1. I have it on carbon 1, then 2, 3, 4. 4 carbon is but, so I have but1-ene. Then look at this. The double bond is on carbon 2, so I have 1, 2. If you count it from the left or even from the right, it's still on carbon 2. So 1, 2. So it's but2-ene. Then the third example, I have the name is 2-methyl propene. Why? Because if you look at, remember the longest continuous chain with the double bond, if you counted 1, 2, 3, right? So this acts as a substitute, or the other way around, if you counted 1, 2, 3. So this becomes your substitute, whichever way you counted it. But remember, you have to give preference to the double bond. So the name of this compound is 2-methyl. Why? Because the double bond is on carbon 1. You couldn't have said that 1, 2, 3. No. So the name of the compound is 2-methylpropene because the substitute is on carbon 2. So that's the name of this compound. So let's take a look at this last one we have here. This is count the number count the chains, the parent chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is paint. So how do we number this carbon now? Look at it. If you number 1, 2, so 2, that is the double bond is on carbon 2. Then if you counted from the right now to the left, you have 1, 2, 3. So 2 is smaller than 3, so you take 2. Then the substitute, which is this methyl group, is now on what carbon? 1, 2. Remember, we agreed that this is the proper numbering because of the smallest number on double bond. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you name the substitute first. 4-methyl paint. Remember, the parent name is 5 paint 2 in because the double bond is on carbon 2. So the name is 4-methyl paint 2 in. Look, I said give ENE, that is to the double bond, the smallest number. So another example, let's look at this. Here, I'll quickly demonstrate something to you. If you are given a name, for example, the name of this compound is 2-methyl-but-1-ene. So you are given a name of a compound and you are asked to write the structure. How do you go about it? So let me demonstrate it. So the name was 2-methyl-but-1-ene. So the parent name is but, that's 4 carbon. So you write out the 4 carbon. Write out the 4 carbon atoms. You see now, I've already written out the 4 carbon atoms. So if we go back to that again, to that comment, the name is 2-methyl-but-1-ene. So but 4 carbon atom, and the substitute, which is methyl, is on carbon 2. So you write what you put a chain on carbon 2. So carbon 2 is here. 1, 2. So this is your carbon 2. So the methyl group is CH3. The methyl group is CH3. So you put CH3. So on carbon 2. Remember now that but 1-ene. So on carbon 1, you put a double bond. So your double bond is not present. So how do you complete this chain now? Remember that every carbon atom can carry 4 bonds. So to complete the bonds on each of these carbon, you need to complete them with hydrogen atom. So you have, on this first carbon atom, you have 1, 2. That's 2 bonds. So it means it's still lacking 2. So you complete it with hydrogen. Sorry, it should be capital H2. So did you see that the bond have shifted? So you need to shift it to the carbon 2. That methyl group must be on carbon 2 because the name tells us is but-1-ene. So you see now we have the double bond on carbon 1. So on carbon 2, now let's check, is it complete? You have 1, this is your first bond, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the bond on carbon 2 is complete, so you don't need to add any hydrogen to it. Then consider carbon 3, you have 1, 2. So this is 1, 2, so you need to complete the remaining 2 with hydrogen, so you have H2. Then the last carbon has just 1 bond, which is this carbon. So you have to complete it with 3 hydrogens. So you have H3. Hope we get it. So this is so the name of this compound is 2-methyl 2-methyl. Remember, it's the continuous 2-methyl but 1-ene. So that's the name of this compound. So if you are given a molecular formula, you can actually write the structure of that compound. So let's go back to what we are talking about. So you see, that's why the name. So consider this other one you have here. You have the chains. Let's count the chain. The parent chain is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 is hairs. So now, where would the double bond be located? 1, 2 on carbon 2. If you counted from the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is too big compared to 2. So you take 2. So you have, then the substitute is 2 carbon. That's ethyne. So you have CH, CH2, CH3. So which is 3 ethyl, 1. Why? Because 1, 2, 3. This is the third carbon. So ethyl has 2-ene. Then this is then for this compound, you have parent chain to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's het. 7 atom, het, 3-ene. So 3 because if you counted from the left, you have 1, 2, 3 on carbon 3, but from the right it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is too far away compared to 3. So you take the smallest number, which is 3. Then the substitute is on carbon 2, 1, 2, and the other substitute is on carbon 5. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the name is 2,5-di. Remember, I said that in the presence of more than one substitute of the same type, you use the di, tetra, or and so on to represent it. So since there are two, you use dimethyl het3-ene. That's the name of the compound. So moving on. So look at another one. In the presence of more than one double bond, look at this. This is butadiene because you have 2 double bond present here. So that's why the name is butadiene. Remember, 4 is when you have 4 carbon is but. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the name of this compound is butadiene. Yes, I said butadiene has 2 carbon to carbon double bonds in the 1 and 3 position, that is starting at the carbon atom number 1 to 3. So you have butadiene. Now, in this case, look at this other example. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 carbon atom. Then double bond is on what carbon? You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So I said 1, 2. That's 2 and 4. But if you counted from the left, now you have 1, 1. That's double bond is on carbon 1. Then you have 2, 3. Then the double bond is on carbon 3 again. So the name is so you take the smallest number, which is 1 and 3, and then this substitute is on carbon 3. 1, 2, 3. So the name is 3-methyl pentyl 1,3-diene. Now notice when you have want to name the di, there is more than one. So the name is pentyl. Compared to when it's just one, you have written pent 1-ene. But because it is 2, you say pentyl to show that there are 2 and show the number, the position where the double bond is. I hope you understand this. Good. So now let's look at 18 as the first member of the alkenes. So 18 is the first member of the alkene series. The molecular formula C2H4, and structural formula is what you are seeing here. Carbon to carbon double bond, and then you have 2 hydrogen attached to each of them. Now, do you notice now that each carbon has 4 bonds? So you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why that structure is like this. So it is one of the main products of the cracking of gaseous oil fraction of petrol. For example, kerosene is one of the gaseous oil fraction of petrol. So the cracking of such fraction of petrol will produce ethene. So we'll see what cracking is shortly. Then preparation. The method of preparing ethene in the laboratory is heating ethanol which is CH3CH2OH with excess concentrated tetraoxosulfate 6 acid at 170 degrees centigrade. Now, the reaction is of two stages. First stage is that the ethanol reacts with the concentrated acid to give you this substance, which is ethyl hydrogen tetraoxosulfate 6 and then water. So this is the intermediate product. On stage 2, that substance further breaks down to give you the ethene and then the acid. So these are the stages of the reaction. The overall reaction is actually that the concentrated acid dehydrates ethanol. When we say dehydrate, that means it removes water from ethanol to give you ethane. So you see that the overall reaction, you have the ethanol, concentrated acid dehydrated, that is remove water from the molecule, and you have ethane as your product. So this is the laboratory setup. This is the way the setup is. Now, the function of sodium hydroxide here is to actually remove the presence of when there are other gases present there. They help to remove such gases so that the impurity will not be found in those substances. So that we can get pure ethene gas, you need to pass it through sodium hydroxide to remove any form of impurity that are present there. So now, industrially, ethene is prepared by cracking of petroleum products. Remember, I said something about cracking. Now, when we say cracking means breaking a large molecule into a smaller one, into smaller fractions. So you have a large molecule, you break it into smaller fraction, you have a smaller fraction. So you see, this is dodecan being cracked. So it's broken down to hexane, ethene, and butene. So this is the product that is formed. There are other fractions that can also be broken down, and you get ethene as the product in such reaction. So these are these things are done industrially. So let's look at the physical properties of ethene. Ethene is a colorless gas. We mentioned that just a while, with a faint sweetish smell. That's characteristics. Spirally soluble in water, that is almost soluble in water. Most organic compounds are insoluble in water. So ethene is almost soluble in water, it's not actually soluble in water. It has no action on litmus paper, that means it is neutral to litmus paper, to any form of litmus, whether paper or the litmus itself. So it has no action on litmus. Then chemical properties of ethene. Remember, one of the properties of hydrocarbon is the combustion in air. They burn in sufficient air to give you carbon 4 oxide, and in insufficient air to give you carbon 2 oxide. So ethene burns in air with a smoking and luminous flame to form carbon 4 oxide and water. The reaction is right there. Then all other alkanes also tend to burn with more luminous and smoky flame than their corresponding alkanes. This is a specific example. For example, this is butene, react with oxygen to give you carbon 4 oxide. Then another property of ethene you need to know. Now, all alkenes, they undergo substitution and addition reaction. We talked about substitution reaction. Substitution reaction means that one of the hydrogen atom in the hydrocarbon is replaced by another element. For example, chlorine can replace the hydrogen in any of the hydrocarbons to give you the product. So that is substitution reaction. But in addition to substitution reaction, there are alkenes undergo addition reaction. What addition reaction does is to bring about saturation in the carbon in that hydrocarbon. Remember that the alkenes are unsaturated. They lack 2 hydrogen from. If you consider the corresponding alkenes, for example, ethene is C2H6, but ethane is C2H4. So it is lacking 2 hydrogen atoms compared to ethane. So for saturation to happen, they react with other elements so that the double bond is broken. So take, for example, hydrogenation means addition of hydrogen in the presence of catalyst nickel. So when hydrogen is added to ethene, it will give you ethane. So halogenation, addition of halogens, could be chlorine or bromine. Please, is bromine. This is bromine, please. So it could be chlorine or bromine or even iodine. Back to what I was saying. So you see, when chlorine, that halogenation is added, you see the product. This is the product. You see, this is the name is 1,2-dichloroethane. Then bromine 1,2-dibromoethane. So you see now that the double bond is now broken to single bond. So the copper becomes saturation. So addition reaction actually helps to bring about saturation in the organic compound or in the hydrocarbon. Then another one, addition reaction, you can add hydrogen halides. That is, for example, hydrogen chloride and hydrogen bromide. When they are added to 18, you have the product. You see the compound becomes saturated. You have CH3, CH2, Cl. So this is addition of hydrogen chloride. You see, you have chloroethane, and addition of hydrogen bromide, you have bromoethane. That's one bromoethane, and this is one chloroethane. So that's the product. Then next, also in addition reaction, when ethane is bubbled through a dilute solution of potassium tetraoxo manganate 7, is readily oxidized to 1,2-diol. So ethane 1,2-diol. So now you see the ethane reacting from that KMNO, for that potassium tetraoxo manganate 7. You see water and oxygen, that oxidation happens. When you see square bracket, it's telling you that oxidation is occurring. So you have ethane 1,2-diol as your product. Now this reaction is very important because it's used to test for unsaturation. Usually, potassium permanganate, which is potassium tetraoxo manganate 7, is purple in color. So in the presence of a saturated hydrocarbon, the purple color turns colorless. So that shows you the presence of an unsaturated hydrocarbon. Then, if it was an alkane that there was added to potassium permanganate, this purple color remains unchanged. So potassium permanganate is used to actually test for unsaturation. So these are addition reaction. So like I said, in addition to substitution reaction, addition reaction is a very important reaction that the alkenes undergo. Another reaction is polymerization. When we say polymerization, it means that a substance, a smaller molecule, combines with itself or other molecules. That is, two or more smaller molecules join together to become a large molecule. So, for example, ethene polymerizes to give you polyethene. Like, I'm sure you know polythene, commonly called polythene, used for making carrier bags and some kind of plastics. So that is polyethene. So coming together of smaller molecule that is ethene, like a number of ethene comes together to form a large chain, which is polyethene. That is what is known as polymerization. Now, as we continue in our study, we will come to actually look at polymerization as a topic on its own. So, use of ethene. Ethene is a raw material used in the manufacture of many important plastics, such as polythene, which I mentioned before, polyvinyl chloride. I'm sure you know PVC, used for in our homes for making roofing sheets and stuff like that. Then polystyrene. Polystyrene is also a very important plastic used in making glass. So next, it is the main source of important organic compounds such as ethane, ethanol, ethanoic acid. Important organic compounds used in the industry. Ethene is a main source of it. Then in agriculture, a low concentration of ethene is used to induce ripening of fruit. So use a small quantity of it to make fruits to ripen. So in agriculture, it is applied in that. So I think this is where we'll end the class for today. I hope you learned something. Please, and please, go back to the video, play it as much as 2 or 3 times so that you can get a better understanding. And if you have any question, please send in your questions and I will answer you as soon as I get them. The notes have been uploaded on your school website. So this note is for week 7, uploaded lesson note for week 7 on the school website. Then you have ABABIO, which is new school chemistry, explicit chemistry, exam focused chemistry, and essential chemistry. These are the reference material that you need to go back to, and it will help you have a better understanding of what have been taught here today. Thank you very much for listening. Keep staying safe and God bless you. Until I come your way next time, I'm Miss Adana Obu. Stay blessed.